hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yesterday we heard how that Ramchandra Khan wanted to bring down Haridas Thakur out of envy because he was getting respect. So he engaged one prostitute, and she was with that intention to bring him down. She came 3 nights, but Haridas Thakur was very merciful and he made her stay there and wait and hear Harinam. Then her heart was purified and she regretted and she surrendered to him and she became a great devotee, pure devotee, by Tulsi Seva and Harinam. And she became pure devotee and many other big devotees came to take her darshan. Seeing the sublime character of the prostitute, everyone was astonished. Everyone glorified the influence. I don't know if I read this in Bangla yesterday. Beshyar charitra dekhilo ke chamatkar, Haridaser mohima kohe kori namaskar. Ramachandra Khan aparad bija koilo, sei bij brikha hoya agete folilo. Mahat aparader phol adbhuta kothon, prastapaya kohi shuno bhakta agon. Seeing the sublime character of the prostitute, everyone was astonished. Everyone glorified the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. By inducing a prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur, Ramchandra Khan caused a seed of offense at his lotus feet to germinate. This seed later became a tree, and when it fructified, Ramachandra Khan ate its fruits. This offense at the lotus feet of an exalted devotee has resulted in a wonderful narration. Taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by these incidents, I shall explain what happened. O devotees, please listen. So it is not that the result always comes immediately. One may commit offense, but result will come after some time. Sahaje Abaishna Prama Chandra Khan Haridaser Aparade Hoilo Asur Saman Vaishnava Dharma Ninda Kore Vaishnava Apaman Bohudiner Aparade Pailo Porinam Nityananda Gosai Gaure Jabe Aila Prem Pracharite Tobe Promite Lagila. Ramachandra Khan was naturally a non-devotee. Now, having offended the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, he became just like a demoniac atheist. Because of blaspheming the cult of Vaishnavism and insulting the devotees for a long time, he now received the results of his offensive activities. When Lord Nityananda returned to Bengal to preach the cult of Bhakti, love of Godhead, he began touring all over the country. Prem Pracharan ar Pashanda Dalam Dui Karje Abadhut Koren Brahman Sarvagya Nityananda Aila Tar Ghore Asya Bosila Durga Mandab Upore Onek Lokjon Songe Angan Bhorilo ভিতর হইতে রামচন্দ্র সেবক পাঠাইল for two purposes, to spread the cult of bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheists. Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country. Both is necessary. One who is a charjo, who is in preaching service, he has to encourage devotion, and also he has to refute anti-devotion. Both he has to do. Lord Nityananda, who is omniscient, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to the house of Ramachandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandap, a place called the Durga Mandap for the worship of the goddess Durga. অনেক লোকজন সঙ্গে আঙ্গন ভরে দিশারে. When the Durga Mandap and courtyard became filled with crowds of men, Ramachandra Khan, who was inside the house, sent his servant to Lord Nityananda. সেবক বলে গোসাই মোরে পাঠাইল খান, গৃহস্থের ঘরে তোমায় দিব বাসস্থান। গোয়ালার গোশালা হয়ে অত্যন্ত বিস্তার, ইহান সংকীর্ণ স্থল তোমার মানুষ আপার, ভিতরে আছিলা শুনি ক্রোধে বাহিরিলা, আত্মা আত্মা হাসি গোসাই কহিতে লাগিলা। The servant informed Lord Nityananda, my dear sir, Ramachandra Khan has sent me to accommodate you in some common man's house. You might go to the house of a milkman, for the cowshed is spacious, whereas the space here in the Durga Mandap is insufficient, because you have many followers with you. When Nityananda Prabhu heard this order from the servant of Ramachandra Khan, he became very angry and came out. Laughing very loudly, he spoke as follows. Some days back on Nochandas Thakur's appearance, we sang that Akroda Paramananda. That time I explained. Nityananda Prabhu is never angry with this material anger due to obstruction of some selfish material desire. Such anger he does not have. But he has this type of anger to punish miscreants for their own good. One time in Guwahati, I was asking Gurudev about some Vaishnava. Then Gurudev warned me that offense to Vaishnava is very grave. Nityananda Prabhu becomes very angry if someone wants to harm his devotees. And then he said, if Nityananda Prabhu becomes angry, he can destroy this whole world in a moment. Very loudly, Gurudev said. By getting the punishment of Nityananda Prabhu, they will get his blessing. They will get his mercy. Very seriously, Gurudev spoke, and very loudly that time. So, due to some ulterior motive, some selfish desire, if we commit offense to Vaishnava, then that is not good. Like here, Ramchandra. For his own name and fame, he tried to defame Haridas Thakur and also did not properly respect Nityananda Prabhu. Satya kohe ei ghor mor jogya noy, mlecha go bat kore tar jogya hoy. Eto boli krodhe gosai uthi acholila, Tare dandadite se gramena rohila. Ihan Ramachandra Khan Sevake Agya Dilo. Gosai Jaha Bosilatar Mati Kodailo. So Nityananda said, Ramachandra Khan has spoken rightly. This place is unfit for me. It is fit for cow killing, meat eaters, means mlecha. Having said this, Lord Nityananda stood up and left in an angry mood. To chastise Ramachandra Khan, he did not even stay in that village. Ramachandra Khan ordered the servant to dig up the dirt in the place where Nityananda Prabhu had sat. Gomoy jole lepila sop mandir prangam, tobu Ramachandrer mon na hoilo parasam. Dasyo briti kore Ramachandra rajare na dei kor, Kruda hoyem lecha ujir aila tar ghor. Asise Durga Mandape Basa Koilo. Abadya Bat Kori Mangsa Se Ghore Randhailo. To purify the Durga Mandap temple and the courtyard, Ramachandra Khan sprinkled and smeared it with water mixed with cow dung. But still his mind was unsatisfied. He thought Nityananda Prabhu is very impure, so we need to purify this place. Ramachandra Khan's business was questionable, for he tried to avoid paying income tax to the government. Therefore, the government's Minister of Finance was angry and came to his residence. The Muslim minister made his residence in the Durga Mandap of Ramachandra Khan. He killed a cow and cooked the meat at that very place. Stri putra sohit Ramachandra re bandiya, tar ghor gram lute 3 din rohiya, sei ghore 3 din kore ame dyarondhon, আর দিন সবা লইয়া করিলা গমন, জাতি ধন জন খানের সাকালা লইল, বহুদিন পর্যন্ত গ্রাম উজাড়া রহিল. He arrested Ramachandra Khan along with his wife and sons, and then he continuously plundered the house and village for 3 days. In that very room, he cooked the flesh of a cow for 3 consecutive days. Then the next day he left, accompanied by his followers. Nowadays, even humans, they are already cooking and eating. I heard in some 2 countries southern from here, one great mafia man, he killed some people and he made that we call it cevapcici. I don't know what is the English word, from human meat, and he was taking that with onion. So this is Kali Yuga. Now it is rare, but it is there. But in future, in Kali Yuga, this will be normal, human eating. Not only animals, human eating also. The Muslim minister took away Ramachandra Khan's position, wealth and followers. For many days the village remained deserted. like now, it is quite natural, at least in Western countries, in India also increasing, to eat animal meat. So many animals, cows, pigs and chicken, everything is killed daily. This is in large number, industrial, and in a very cruel way it is done. And it is quite normal. So like that in future, at the end of Kali Yuga, this human eating will also be normal. Nowadays also to commit crime to humans is also common, becoming common. They are doing many things to humans. From womb, starting from womb, that abortion and everything, and later on, because they don't have any conscience, human beings are for them only economic units for making money or for something. So like animal, same thing. So this is Kali Yuga, but there is a reaction also. Everyone has to get. As we see here also, the Muslim minister took away Ramachandra Khan's position, wealth and followers. For many days the village remained deserted. Mahanter apamanje desh grame hoy, ekjonar doshe sob desh uja roy. Haridas Thakur choli aila chanda pure, Asya rohila Balaram acharjero ঘরে, Hiranya Govardhan doi mulu ker majundar, Tar Purohit Balaram naam tar. Wherever an advanced devotee is insulted for one man's fault, the entire town or place is afflicted. So grievous these offenses. The influence will spread also. Not only to the person who makes, he will get reaction, but even his surrounding, they will get reaction. So that is why if we hear any criticism of Vaishnava, then we should, in three ways, we should not tolerate. If we tolerate, then it means we have no love for Krishna and Vaishnava. One has to argue against and refute that criticism, or one should cover his ears and leave that place in protest. There is three. One is to cut tongue. Yes, in Bhagavatam, those for Kshatriyas, before in previous ages, one has to cut that person's tongue, really physically, and or one has to kill him, or one has to kill himself, but he should not tolerate. So in Kali Yuga, to cut one's tongue means one should refute his criticism, and to that at least we have to, if you are not able, you have no any such power, then at least you have to protest in this way, to stop hearing and go away, because that influence will be spacious. So you have to go far away. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandapur. There he stayed at the house of Balaramacharya. Here we see Vaishnava is Vaishnava, pure devotee. He is always serving Krishna, no one can do any harm to him. But if we are surrendered to Vaishnava, like this prostitute became, then she got ultimate benefit. But if someone does anything wrong to Vaishnava, he will get worst condition. And by that he will have to get lesson. He can still rectify once he understands the grave mistake he made, if he changes and if he pleases that Vaishnava or in general Vaishnavas and serves, then he can rectify that mistake. Otherwise he will have to suffer. Like here Ramachandra, and we saw in Durvasa Rishi's case, and also in the case of Daksha, he made offense to Shiva. In Bhagavatam, everything was destroyed for him. He lost life also, everything. But he also was blessed after when they apologized to Shiva. And Shrivas Pandit and Gopal Chapal, he made offense and he got leprosy. He had to suffer. So this is most abominable action. To blast, to make Vaishnava aparat. Even Vishnu aparat is not so grave. Vaishnava aparat is more grave. Because Vishnu loves his devotee more than he loves himself. Like mother has love for child. If someone does any harm to the child, she is more unhappy than if directly to her. Or if someone serves the child, she is more happy than someone who directly serves her. Like that, Krishna is more happy if he sees that someone is serving his devotee, and he's more unhappy when he sees someone is trying to harm his devotee. So Haridas Thakur came there. Hiranya and Govardhan were the two governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Their priest was named Balaram Acharya. Haridaser Kripa Patra Tate Bhakti Mane Jatna Kori Thakurere Rakhila Sei Grame Nirjon Parnashalai Kore no Kirtan Balaram Acharya Grihe Bikha Nirvahon Raghunadas Balokore no Adyayan Haridas Thakurere Jai Koren Darashan. Balaram Acharya, being favored by Haridas Thakur, was very much attached to him. Therefore, he kept Haridas Thakur in the village with great care and attention. This is proper, not like Ramachandra. But if Vaishnav comes, you have to be very carefully and serve him with care and attention. In the village, Haridas Thakur was given a solitary thatched cottage where he performed the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He accepted prasadam at the house of Balaram Acharya. Raghunath Das, who was the son of Govardhan Majumdar and was later to become Raghunath Das Goswami, was at that time a boy engaged in study. He came to see Haridas Thakur daily. Haridas Kripa Kore Tahar Upore Sei Kripa Karon Hoilo Chaitanya Paibare Tahan Joyche Hoilo Hori Daser Mohi Makothon Vyakyan Adbut Kota Shuno Bhakta Agon Ekdin Balarami Noti Korea Majumdarer Sabhai Aila Thakur Eloia. Naturally, Haridas Thakur was merciful toward him, and because of the merciful benediction of this Vaishnava, he later attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Like we see in India, the families, they bring their children to Gurudev, and he is very merciful. Although at that time children, they cannot understand what is happening, but they are getting that fruit later in their life, that grace of a Vaishnava. He attained the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the residence of Hiranya and Govardhan, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. O devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. One day, Balaram Acharya requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Majumdars, Hiranya and Govardhan. Thus, Balaram Acharya went there with Haridas Thakur. Thakur dekhi dui bhai koila abhyuthan, pai pori asan dila kori asaman. Onek pandit sa bhai brahman sajan, dui bhai mahapandit Hiranya Govardhan, Haridaser guno sobe kohe panchamuke, shunya to dui bhai paila borosuke. Seeing Haridas Thakur, the two brothers immediately stood up and fell at his lotus feet. Then, with great respect, they offered him a place to sit. This is proper reception. First, one has to stand up, then offer obeisance to receive. We also see in Bhagavatam, when Shukadev Goswami came, that time first everyone stood up to receive him, because it is disrespectful if superior person is standing and you are sitting. This is disrespectful. So first you have to stand up and then bow down. I got this teaching in India. In our Chandigarh Math, Srila Bhakti Sarasa Nishkinchan Maharaj, Gurudev's god brother, was in charge. And one time I was in the same room with Nishkinchan Maharaj, and Vishnu Maharaj also was there. So both were sitting on chair beside, and they were discussing something maybe about management. I could not understand that time so well. So then one time in between that conversation, Nishkinchan Maharaj stood up from the chair, but he was still speaking. So immediately also Vishnu Maharaj stood up. And then they were speaking in standing position. And then after some time again, Nishkinchan Maharaj sat down and he showed him, you can sit down, no need to stand. Then Vishnu Maharaj sat down. Then again they were speaking. Again in between, Nishkinchan Maharaj stood up. Immediately Vishnu Maharaj also stood up. Then I understood this is respectful. One cannot sit if superior person is standing there. I saw it personally that time, how this is going, means how it should be done. It happened maybe 2-3 times, this same thing. So I understood. In that assembly were many learned scholars, brahmanas, and respectable gentlemen. The two brothers, Hiranya and Govardhan, were also greatly learned. Everyone there began to speak of Haridas Thakur's great qualities as if they had 5 mouths. Hearing this, both brothers were extremely happy. Tin Lakhanam Thakur Koren Kirtan, Namer Mohima Utailo Pandit Gon. Keho bole nam hoite hoi papa koi. Keho bole nam hoite jiber mukko hoi. Horidas kohe namer eidui pol noi. Namer pole Krishna pode prem upojoy. It was mentioned in the assembly that Haridas Thakur chanted the holy names of Krishna 300,000 times a day. 3 lakh. Thus, all the learned scholars began to discuss the glories of the holy name. Some of them said, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from the reactions of all sinful life. Others said, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, a living being is liberated from material bondage. Haridas Thakur protested, these two benedictions are not the true result of chanting the holy name. Actually, by chanting the holy name without offenses, one awakens his ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. Evam vratah swapriya nama kirtya jatanu rago druta chita uchai hasati atoroditi roti gayati un madavan ritati loka bhajya. When this is from Bhagavatam, I think. Yes, Bhagavatam. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Anusangik polnamer mukti papanash, tahar drishtanta joyche surjer prakash. Liberation and extinction of the reactions of sinful life are two concomitant byproducts of chanting the holy name of the Lord. An example is found in the glimpse of morning sunlight. From Patyavali by Rupa Goswami, Amhah samharat akhilam sakrit udayat eva sakala lokasya taranir eva timira jaladhim jayati jagan mangalam harer nama. As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offense, dissipates all the reactions of living beings' sinful life. All glories to that holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world. এই শ্লোকের আর্থ করো পণ্ডিতের গণ, সবে কহে তুমি কহ আর্থ বিবরণ। হরিদাস কহেন জয়ছে সূর্যের উদয়, উদয় না হইতে আরম্ভে তামের হয় ক্ষয়। চৌর প্রেত রাক্ষসাদির ভয় হয় নাশ, উদয় হইলে ধর্ম কর্ম আদি পরাকাশ। After reciting this verse, Haridas Thakur said, O learned scholars, please explain the meaning of this verse. But the audience requested Haridas Thakur, it is better for you to explain the meaning of this important verse. Haridas Thakur said, as the sun begins to rise, even before it is visible, it dissipates the darkness of night, that dawn. When sun is not up yet, but still there is light already coming. And that light removes darkness, and with the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything is manifest, and everyone begins performing his religious activities and regulative duties. That time there was no like electricity, and nowadays many people, they are doing many things during night, but that is unnatural. It is natural to take rest after sun sets and to rise early, and when the sun is up, then everything is visible, and that time you start your duties. So although the sun is not fully up, but still that slight light already frightens the thieves, because they will be seen they are stealing during night, because no one can see them. And ghosts, they also stay in dark places. And Rakshasas, Rakshasa Adir, Rakshas, they're human eater. Rakshas, Adi, means different kinds of these tamogun creatures. They are in tamo, in when there is darkness, they are thriving at that time, but they cannot thrive in light, so they go away when there is light. Oiche namo doya oiche namo doya rambe pap adir koi udoy hoile Krishna pode hoy premodoy. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name has awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one awakens to service in ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. So by Namabhas, there are no offenses, but also at that time there is no relationship with Krishna, loving relationship, that is Namabhas. But even that Namabhas gives relief from all sinful reactions and can give and gives liberation. We have that example of Ajamil. He got that. And when there is relation with Krishna, then that is pure name. That is also called as offenseless, because Namabhas is also one kind of offense, because we are not serving Krishna. We are his servant. So if you are doing something else or not doing nothing, not serving him, that is also one kind of offense. So we have to know, when sometimes it is said offenseless chanting, it may mean Namabhas, or it may mean fully offenseless, where there is no Namabhas also, no apathy towards service of Krishna, that is fully offenselessly, that is pure name. So we have to understand in context what is meant, and when we say without offenses, Namabhas is also one kind of aversion to Krishna, that liberation, if you are not actively engaged in the service of Krishna, and that cannot satisfy you. So when Mahaprabhu said, Nir aparade nam loile pai premadhon, by offenseless chanting you will get Krishna prem, it is meant that pure name, not Namabhas. Mukti tucha phol hoy namabhas hoite. See, liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chanting of the holy name. Here, Namabhas. That is why here Srila Sai Maharaj is translating like this. First hint of offenseless chanting, and here a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chantings. This is Namabhas. By that Namabhas, one gets liberation. Mriyamano harer nam, grinan putropacharitam, ajamilopi agadhama, kim uta shradaya grinan. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? Here, Ajamilopi Agat Dham. He was rescued from this material world, but this liberation is not totally Vaikuntha Dham. It is that like a Brahma Jyoti, that is also transcendental, Brahma Lok or Brahma Dham, it can be said. Our Gurudev also sometimes said Brahma Dham. But if one chants with Shraddhaya, with faith, I am eternal servant of Krishna, I should serve him. By serving Krishna, all are served. When with such faith he chants for the satisfaction of Krishna in knowledge of his relation eternal, then what to speak of what they will get? They will get much more than liberation. Otherwise it would be the same, like he got Namabhas, he got Dham, but no, there is a difference here in this verse. If someone will with faith chant, what he will get? Je mukti bhakta na loy se Krishna chahe pite. Liberation which is unacceptable for a pure devotee is always offered by Krishna without difficulty. Salokya sharshti sarupya samipyaikatvam apiuta diyamanam na grinanti vinamat sevanam jana. My devotees do not accept salokya, sarshti, sarupya, samipya or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations, in preference to serving me. This is from Bhagavatam and previous verse also. So salokya means residence on same planet as Supreme Lord, sarshti having same opulences as him. Sarupya means same form, and samipya means remaining near him. And oneness is sayujya, like there are two types, Brahma sayujya, to merge in his effulgence, another is to merge in his body. Two types of sayujya. So devotees, they don't accept these liberations in preference to serving me. They're always wanting to serve Krishna. Sometimes if there is any opportunity in these four types of liberation, devotees, they may also accept if there is opportunity of service, but they never accept oneness because there is no opportunity of service. So some days back, Revati was asking what kind of benefit one will get by hearing Nama Sankirtan. These 5 types of muktis, I said no. If one hears Nama Sankirtan, means proper chanting, pure chanting, that is Nama Sankirtan, then he will get devotion to Krishna. If you come near to fire, you will get heat. You cannot get cold. Like that, when you come in contact with devotion, then you will awaken devotion. So they will be inspired to serve Krishna by hearing that Harinam, if pure Harinam. গোপাল চক্রবর্তী নাম এক জন মাজুমদারের ঘরে সেই আরিন্দা প্রধান গৌরের অহিপাত সাহা আগে আরিন্দাগিরি করে 12 লক্ষ মুদ্রা সেই পাৎসার থাই ভরে পারমা সুন্দর পণ্ডিত নূতন যৌবন নামাভাসে মুক্তি শুনি না হইল সহন At the house of Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar, a person named Gopal Chakravarti was officially the chief tax collector. The Gopal Chakravarti lived in Bengal. His duty as chief tax collector was to collect 1,200,000 coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. He had handsome bodily features and was learned and youthful. But he could not tolerate the statement that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name, that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. Namabhas mukti shuni na hoilasa. He could not tolerate to hear that just by Namabhas one can get liberation. ক্রুদ্ধ হইয়া বলেছে সারস বচন ভাবুকের সিদ্ধান্ত শুনো পণ্ডিতের গণ কতি জন্মে ব্রহ্ম জ্ঞানে যেই মুক্তি নয় এই কহে নামাবাসে সেই মুক্তি হয় হরিদাস কহে ন কেনে করহ সংশয় শাস্ত্রে কহে নামাবাস মাত্রে মুক্তি হয় This young man, Gopal Chakravarti, became very angry upon hearing the statements of Haridas Thakur. He immediately criticized him. O assembly of learned scholars, he said, just hear the conclusion of the emotional devotee, like sentimental here, bhavuker siddhanta shuno. What this sentimentalist, what kind of siddhanta he is speaking here? After many millions upon millions of births, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, Brahma Gyan, impersonal knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet, this man says that one may attain it simply by the awakening of a glimpse of the holy name, Namabhas. Haridas Thakur said, why are you doubtful? The revealed scriptures say that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. Haridas Thakur also knows all Shastra. Everything is revealed in his heart. He was not Brahmin by birth and learning Sanskrit and Vedas, everything. But everything is revealed in his heart, and also he heard Shastra from some Advaita Acharya like this. But even if you don't hear, if you chant as Haridas Thakur, purely offenseless Harinam, then all Shastric knowledge, everything is revealed in your heart. Not only external aspect, intellectual, but real, which can be applied then in different circumstances. It is not everything that is like directly mentioned, but the principles are mentioned in Shastra and some examples, but according to time, place, circumstance, one can see, can realize the truth in that circumstance. Bhakti sukh age mukti ati tucho hoy. Otoi bhaktagon mukti nahi loy. For a devotee who enjoys the transcendental bliss of devotional service, liberation is most insignificant. Therefore, pure devotees never desire to achieve liberation. And he gives evidence. Tvat shakshat karanachlada vishuddhabdi stitasya me sukani gosh padayante brahmani api jagat guru. O my dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, bliss of impersonal liberation, to be like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Calf is very, very small feet. And what hole he makes, if you put water, that much water is there. And you compare this with ocean. That is Seva, Premananda, Seva, that is ocean. And liberation is like this much water. Bipra kohe Namabhase jodi mukti noy, tobe tomar nak kati koro honishchoy. Haridas koheno jodi Namabhase mukti noy, tobe amar nak katimu ei sunishchoy. Shuni sabatat ute kori ha-ha-kar. Majumdar se bipre kori ladikar. Gopal Chakravarti said, if one is not liberated by Namabhas, then you may be certain that I shall cut off your nose. Then Haridas Thakur accepted the challenge offered by Gopal Chakravarti. If by Namabhas liberation is not available, he said, certainly I shall cut off my nose. He's realized soul. He knows what is what. He's not speaking just sentimentally. He's realized. So he said yes. Because he's 100% sure. Because he got that realization. All the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated, and they got up, making a tumultuous sound. Hiranya and Govardhan Majumdar both immediately chastised the Brahmana tax collector. Here, Dikkar. So, they were not happy with such mood to challenge pure devotee. It is like offense. So, they were not, they were agitated and they chastised him. Time is over. Tomorrow we will hear what happened next. He challenged, and Haridas Thakur said, yes, it is true. If it is not true, then I will cut off my nose. So we'll see what will happen tomorrow.